Welcome to the Highgate Selectboard meeting for November 5th, 2020. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Is there anything for public comment that is not on the agenda?
I have just one question. It's
Yep.
very simple. When are you guys gonna be having the sand in back of the town park?
Probably within the next week or
Okay,
so,
that
I
was
guess.
my main question, because I want to make sure Brad's come up and grab a couple
We didn't
deals.
have any the last one, but.
Right, I'm just asking in case somebody asks something, I can let you know ahead of time. Very simple. Okay, thank you. I am the messenger.
Okay. All right. So we'll move right along to Shelley.
Wow, I've never been so early. This wasn't prepared. Well, we'll start with the check warrant.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to look at the check warrant? Any questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to sign the check warrants?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. What else is going on?
Plenty. Let's see. I did put a copy of the repro contract in SharePoint as well, but Mary Dearborn from Repro contacted me. It's time to renew our contract. They print our town reports.
Yes.
They're out of Winooski. She's wonderful to work with. We're always very happy with our product. So if we do it for 1 year, 2020, we get a deal of $1,245. If we do a contract for 2020 and 2021, she will lower the price to $1,178 per year. And that gives us 500 copies to give out, as well as 10 spiral bound for you guys and us here in the office. So that's one thing that I would ask for a 2-year. I've always.
Okay.
I think we've always renewed 2 since I've been here.
Does the board have any thoughts on that?
I'll make a motion for a 2-year.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
So I can sign that, or you can sign that. It's completely up to you.
I'm fine with you signing that. Does the
Okay.
board have any objections?
No.
Okay.
We'll let Mary know we are good for another 2 years.
And you know, I forgot a thing, just like always. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Tax update. Amidst the weird year, I've never had such a high collection by thousands. We ended the day with a delinquency of $171,624.10. The average is $237,745, going back to 2013.
Wow,
So, like $60,000.
that's fabulous.
And more than that, last year we ended the day $263,556. So you're talking almost $100,000 difference from last year.
Excellent. Good.
So I was very happy with the amount of people that
Considering people had to make appointments, they did pretty good.
they
Yeah, they
did.
did great.
But I think it's
Got
made
their
a difference too, is people are starting to realize to come in and put that money aside every month.
I have more people that have filled out that form and sent in their full payment. So they'll be budgeting this year.
Because
For
I've
the
talked
next
to
year,
a lot of
you're right.
people. Yep,
It's becoming a popular thing, and I'm
Good.
glad people are taking advantage of it,
and they should.
and it shows.
It
So,
shows. Good.
very happy about that. Very successful year. And as you can see in the check warrant, I turned around and gave it right to the school.
Dang.
Yes. Tax sale date is set for December 10th. There are properties that have already come off it,
Yes, I
so
see that.
people are contacting or paying in full or making a plan. It's not too late. And I hope everyone does make a plan. The audit is done. The copies are in your box there for some nice nightly reading.
Okay.
It went very well. There was a few findings that we didn't have in years past because we had the finance committee overseeing stuff.
Yeah.
When Jordan was here to do year-end stuff with me back in June, he mentioned that it would be a finding. But we've already corrected it. Judy LaRush, who does the treasurer for Maha, has been coming in with me every month and reconciling the bank stuff. So she's the second set of eyes,
Mhm.
reviewing stuff and signing off on general journal entries. So they were happy with that. It's there, but it's already been corrected.
Thank you.
Audit, tax update. Couple more things, it's, we're moving into budget season here real soon, and I've gotten quite a few appropriation requests. The two that are over $1,000 and require a petition are wondering how the select board would like to handle that this year. Will you make an exception for them to do a petition, or would you still like them to do a petition for the appropriation to be on the warning?
That's, home health.
Home health, and this year, Northwest Unit for Special Investigations is asking for more than 1,000. In years past, it's been 900. So they're asking for a couple $100 more.
Okay, and their main purpose is, child abuse and that
Yes,
type of
yep,
Uh,
I think,
investigations.
sexual cases
Right.
involving minors, abuse cases, yes. All the stuff you wish didn't happen at all.
Yes.
So my question would be, okay, one of them is a couple $100 more. How much more is the other one?
They're asking for the exact same amount, but it's $7,400, so it's over the $1,000 threshold where they would need to do a petition.
And we have the ability to waive their doing the petition?
Well, you're the select board, so in theory, you can put anything you
Yeah,
want
this
on the
year.
warrant.
That's a big deal.
Are you opening the floodgates though, if you say we're gonna waive petitions, and everybody jumps on that bandwagon?
No,
I don't know,
Well,
are you?
if it's on a case by case basis.
that's exactly what I would say. It's a case by case.
So if you're gonna make a motion, just.
Right. So, does the select board have a feeling on home health? They asked for $1,700.
They have 7,000,
Oh, 7,000, sorry.
same exact amount they've asked for
Okay.
for several years, and they always get the petition, and it's generally passed at town meeting.
Yes.
$7,424.
And they certainly do give a lot back to our town. And they do
I think
a
both
fabulous
are
job.
willing to put something on the
Can you
Resources Register or something at McEwen's.
tell me the two agencies again? Home-
Northwest Unit for Special Investigations, which deals with children.
Mhm.
And then Franklin County Home Health with the elderly.
Okay, so I would move to exempt those two organizations from the petition requirements for 2021.
Those are the only two that have come forward thus far. I've gotten most of them in. Those are the only two that would require one so far. So.
Okay, do I have a second? Do I have any discussion?
I think there should be a little caveat on that, that both of those organizations have gotten the money several years without question.
Right.
And that's why there should be something in that that says that new request, the case-by-case basis,
Yep.
should be in this
Motion.
motion.
Well,
That's
if you're only making a motion on those two,
Two, yeah.
anything new I get, I will bring to you and you can make a motion at that time.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
That's all I have.
okay. All right, moving right along. Wendy?
We got minutes from, seems like forever ago, October 15th.
It's just because you've been busy. So has everyone had a chance to look at the October 15th minutes?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to sign?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. And I will quickly recap the election because we are saturated with it, all of us. We had, let's see, 1,234 people voted absentee, and 515 people voted in person at the polls for a total of 1,749 ballots cast in Highgate. We have a checklist of 2,370, and that includes 189 challenged voters. So you take those challenged voters out of the equation that we don't believe live here any longer. It's 2,181. We were at 80%.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
Participation, which is excellent. And the day went very well. Busy. Oh my goodness. Lots of same-day voter registration, which is something new in the past couple of years that people took advantage of. It was me and Shelley and Shelley's husband for the most part, so we were hopping busy all day, but had a few lines at a few points in the day. We had one lull, and that's when the messenger showed up to take pictures, and there was not one person in there voting. It was funny. But he waited around and we did get some pictures. So it was a good day, and we all know what's happening on the national front, so I won't even get into that. We're still waiting, but locally we do have Lisa Hango is going to represent us as part of Franklin 5, and Paul Martin. But I did want to thank Sharon Fagard for her service,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Daniel also for running. They all did well, but Lisa and Paul are going to be representing us.
Good.
So that is the election pretty much, and looking ahead to town meeting, I do want you guys to think about, are we going to have a floor meeting? Are you going to exercise your ability for this one cycle to move to ballots if we can't meet all the protocol to have a floor meeting? I mean, we don't need to decide today, but I think within the next several weeks, we need to
Have a
decide
plan.
what direction we're gonna go so it can be warned properly. Town of Franklin is gonna be deciding at their next meeting what they're gonna do. So, something to think about. So put it on
Okay.
your burner.
All
I
right.
mean, right now they're saying 75 people at an indoor meeting. Do we have more than that? Usually, this year would be, I don't know.
Right.
Do we wanna have a floor meeting with less than 75 people? I don't know.
Okay. Is this the one we're talking about doing on Australian ballot?
Earlier in
Yeah, I forwarded you guys some stuff from VLCT.
Would that be the same thing as the national vote where we mail out ballots to everybody?
No,
No.
Oh,
So
he's
how would
saying
that
he
work?
can't get in.
they could request them,
Why not?
and a lot of people probably would, if that's what
Okay,
you're
because I'm just
doing.
looking at the mail-in 80% participation. I know I can hardly ever make a town meeting day because of work, and
Right,
I've always wanted an Australian ballot personally.
right.
But looking at mail-in with the national, I don't know which way I'm leaning.
Yeah,
Mike-
that
Mike said
decision
it'd be
was
trend.
made, that decision to mail ballots to everyone for this election was made at the top. So this is a
Right.
local election.
I've been looking for.
I guess if you guys wanted me to, I would, but
We could, it would cost postage and
we could.
our time, but
A few people were a little irritated that came to vote, you know, you never should have sent me that, and I was like, well,
I didn't.
Yeah.
Just comments.
you know, so,
Yeah, and you'll have to take into account that there is a large group of people that like that in-person floor vote. It may not, like you said, be very accommodating to those that have to work, but we do have a,
Can we do both, or is it one or the other?
One or the other.
Yeah.
Because we already have our elected officers on the ballot. It's our public questions and our budgets that we vote from the floor.
Right.
It have to be one or the other. But that same group that likes town meeting so much is also the group that may be fearful. I don't know.
yeah,
It's
I know.
just- I don't know.
Go ahead, Tom.
My opinion on it, again, we're early in this, is this year, I don't see how a floor vote is gonna work. I mean, we don't have a space or an outdoor facility in town to do it. What I would caution the select board is about is this year's not the year to add that question about going Australian ballot. If we're going Australian ballot, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Okay,
So
so,
you don't need, I mean, just start thinking about it and
Yeah.
discussing it. And I think
Should come up.
by the end of 2020, you guys need to know what we're gonna do.
yeah, cause Lord only knows what will happen in the meantime with all this.
Right.
Okay,
That's it for me.
all right. And thank you both, and thank your husband for us as well, for making sure that all our votes are counted, and the JPs as well, to make sure that they know we do appreciate your hard work, and
Yes, the
He
JP
can
came in
always
at
call the
7
phone.
and helped us button everything up, so.
Can
Yeah.
you go around?
okay.
If he calls
Thank
the
you.
main line,
Yep, thank you guys very
they
much.
can always get him on the phone if he can't get in.
Heidi,
Yeah.
administrator items.
Yes, we were hoping that the Youngs would be able to jump in, and they're having some technical difficulties, so we were just chatting about they might call in instead of getting on Zoom.
Okay.
Lots of stuff. The first thing should be a fairly easy decision because you've approved it once in the past, and that's an application for Better Back Roads. And that is for the Roller Road site number 10, which was identified in our stormwater inventory. And we had applied to Better Back Roads last year, and we did not get it. I called to find out why, and they had much less funding than they anticipated. They did not award any Category D grants, which is what we were in, which is a culvert greater than 36 inches and a higher amount. So we're resubmitting this year, and they're hopeful to be able to award them, but then they said we would not be able to move forward until July when the legislature approves it. So
So that's another section of the road, right?
it's another section of that same road that was identified, so we're resolving another one of the issues. And this ties in with the municipal roads general permit, which we just got notified. We have to report now what we've done and pay our fee again by December. So, it's just a project that was already identified and approved, but didn't go into the queue for funding.
So it still might not, right?
Yeah, no, we're just putting it back into the pool to
Okay.
see. These applications are open until December, and I was just saying if we are awarded, they won't give us a contract until July.
Okay, so do we have a motion to sign to put this back in the queue?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about was just another update on all of our alarm systems. And Joe was great and met with Summit, and we walked the building and realized that we're quite deficient for smoke sensors and heat sensors. There's one in the whole building. So they gave us a quote. You should have that in your packet. In this packet I'm holding is all the specs if anyone wants to look at that, but it's quite pricey. So it's $17,800 for this project. And it's not something we had anticipated or budgeted for. But there is the opportunity to apply for the passive safety grant in January, which would give us $5,000 towards it. But so we haven't gotten any advice from anyone else, as from the fire marshal or the insurance company. They don't offer opinions on these. They're confident whoever's bidding it is going to give us a sufficient system. And we did just go out to bid for this company recently, so.
So is this the only, what's the arena like? Is it just this building that yeah, I know it's this building, but is the arena, what kind of shape is the arena in, Todd?
I think we're good. I don't know if we're 80% or 100% good. You know what I mean?
So should that one be checked out too?
I know we have smokes, I know we have heats.
You should be all set. The only thing that question when Heidi contacted me was the fact that I knew that we didn't have any in the fire station. So that prompted me to say, well, if we're looking into doing all of this change out, why don't we look at putting a few in there until we started walking around the building and going, there's nothing. So that's what prompted us to say, well, if we're gonna look at that, what's the whole project? Maybe we can, next question would be to ask him if we can piecemeal this thing together too, if we can do a section. I would probably, my suggestion would be that the main building be the primary thing. This is where you got most of the contact, but I mean, you can say the same thing with the town garage, you can say the same thing with the fire department. I mean,
He did say those trucks, all the electronics and the trucks and the battery plug-ins are, they've had other fires.
so it's, I don't know how you wanna weigh it.
Wow.
But
It's
that's
certainly
how
not
that came about.
effective.
So I'm not expecting a decision from you. I just wanted you to be thinking about that, and we will be able to apply for funding. I'll put it back in front of you later. The other question on that, so Summit was here, and Vern, I believe they connected with you and got you into the system at the arena.
That's correct.
So we have the surveillance policy. I was going to have you sign tonight, but I want to just clarify for the arena, it's a little different because in the Genetech system over there, their access control is also a part of that system. So Ty has been doing the access control, changing out people as needed. So you can either keep Ty in that position in the system or you could take that over. So you'd need to make that decision.
Can I be on both and he be at this one and in the arena? I'll be on that one and then have Ty and myself. That's basically two administrators for the arena.
You absolutely
You
can.
currently are,
It's-
Oh, I am? Okay. Okay. So we're all set.
You're at the arena. You're not in this one yet because he's still having a difficulty getting you in.
Okay, I thought you set me up for this one the other day.
He was here and he attempted to, but he
Okay.
still does not have the administrator key. He could not get MEI to call him back when he was here. So he said it's going to take 5 minutes to do it when he gets a hold of them. So
He was going, when he left the arena, he was pretty certain he was gonna have to get Genetech to get that version. They only have the access to the last two, and this one was Serena.
Okay.
that's it on that. So, sorry, go ahead.
So is it still okay for me to be,
I think the board needs to make that decision. You had appointed Vern as one person for
Make a
monitoring the
motion,
system.
Chair.
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to keep Ty on as the administrator, along with Vern for the rink.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
I wanted to ask you about, the Vermont Council on Rural Development. We had talked about a community visit, and Vern and Kyle, I'm not sure if you were here then or not. We had a virtual meeting, and what they do is come into a community and help you figure out your priorities and get organized. The select board committed to that, but they haven't been able to do anything. And so there's a note in your packet from them and a flyer. They're asking, does the town of Highgate want to proceed virtually? And what that would do is give them the ability to start working with us and being an assistance to us sooner, if you feel like that could work. If you don't, they're fine just, keeping us in the queue, and we try to do something at a later time. But they said they've done a few meetings, they're starting to feel more confident doing that, and that they will be helping whichever towns come forward with that. So did anyone have a chance to look at that flyer? So they just wanted me to get back to them and let them know.
what resources do we have to try and proceed virtually? There's Zoom and calling in, but is there any, I'm thinking, like, is there a way we could have their people up on some kind of a large screen that an audience of Highgate residents could view and interact?
I believe that's what they're proposing, yes.
And any idea if this room would be big enough?
I don't have a real knowledge of how many meetings there would be. I know this room would not be sufficient for like the community
50
gathering.
people, yeah.
They had a meal in Swanton, it's not going to be anything they've done in the past. It's going to be something new because they can't proceed the way that they used to. So they're, totally fine with you hanging tight, just putting it off. We certainly have plenty of other projects we can focus on. But if you want to try something different.
I'm interested in pursuing it. Everyone else could please weigh in. But in a past life, doing the very same sort of process with the town of Johnson was a big boon to the town.
Mhm.
We're talking, make great leaps forward on rebuilding 2 bridges and streetscaping the entire length of Main Street, and huge sums of money coming from outside funding sources to do it. It cost the town little or nothing other than participating. I think he's got an absolutely fantastic program. And if to not pursue it would really be a shame.
I think you're right, Bruce, but I think if we're gonna get the whole town involved in it, I think we're better off to wait, because that's the biggest thing, getting the whole town involved, and I think on Zoom, it's gonna be hard to get the whole town involved, and I don't know, I agree with everything you're saying, but I just think right now, hopefully this don't hang around for 3-4 years, and we can get going, but I'd like to wait. I don't know, I want to do it.
So you're saying you'd rather do it in person
Yeah,
rather than virtually?
right.
Okay, but I'd like to stay in contact with them and
Yeah,
tell them we're interested.
yeah,
We're just.
Yeah. yeah, I'm interested, it seems like it'd be harder to do it
Oh,
virtually.
there's no question this virtual stuff is harder. That's, welcome to 2020.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it?
No. Be honest with you.
Vern?
I agree with everything Bruce said from what I read in the packet. I didn't know the example about Johnson, but if that's what they can do, I'm sold on it. Maybe Minneapolis with Mesa Road, that kind of thing.
I don't know about the Mesa Road, but
Well, yeah,
just making the town more
Aware?
look better, I guess, and instilling a really positive attitude about things. And okay, I don't know what exactly we do here in Highgate right at the moment, but it's a great catalyst for bringing up ideas and putting them into motion. They
can bring up good ideas to help the town look better, like you said, help improve it, and bring some money that doesn't come out of our taxes, at least local taxes. That would be good. The other thing I was thinking about, I agree with you on, maybe we should not table this, but table it for a couple months. Vaccine supposedly is coming out in January or February, and maybe by summer we can go back to having live meetings, floor meetings kind of thing. So we don't have to do the virtual thing, because, yeah, this is a bit of a pain.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Kyle?
I feel the same way. I would really like to keep the line of communication open, but wait till next spring or early summer when the weather warms up and we can, possibly have a vaccine, but at least we could, I don't care if it's in the park or where it is.
Right.
You can have everybody together, and you get so much more to look in somebody in the eye when you're talking to them than trying to do it over a video. So,
Yeah, and I think you'd get a lot more involvement.
yes.
And you'd have a lot better result as an
Agreed.
in-person
Yep.
process.
When we did these Highgate celebration, we had a lot of very good input. You should remember that, Sharon.
Yep.
We did the Highgate celebration, and we had a lot of very interesting people. They thought it was wonderful. The people was able to get out. The only thing that we did wrong, which we needed to book, not at the same time as everybody else's, and that was one of them. But we did it the first year, and it went really well. It was very well. And we had a lot of good input from it.
So I would say we're in agreement to stay in the queue, and we are extremely interested in the process, extremely interested in them. Their presentation to us before was great, and I think we're all excited to do that, but we want to make it as encompassing as we can by doing it live.
Okay. I will let her know. I wanted to just check in with you about budgeting. I sent you all an invitation to the next planning commission meeting, just so you would be aware. The planning commission is starting the capital budget discussion at their next meeting on the 17th. And they will be meeting with these two gentlemen right here, Butch and Joe, are front and center for that discussion. And then in December, this is your time. And then in December, they meet with the recreation department and the library and the village core. So select board's invited to participate in that discussion from the start. It will end up on your desk after they get a little further down the road, but you are invited, especially if you're new to the process and wanted to see that. So, and I don't know if there is a schedule that you wanted to have the select board look at budgeting. You have currently one meeting in December scheduled, December 3rd. So I don't know if that second spot was left open for a potential budget meeting or just wishful thinking that we wouldn't have to meet again.
That was it.
I love the idea.
When do you need to have our budget in place? By the 1st of January, or do we have a little leeway?
Typically, it's before I go on vacation, which isn't happening. So.
We've got all the time in the world.
Yeah, we usually finalize it, and I have our draft to repro for printing by January 15th, 18th, mid-January. So if we have one meeting in December and maybe another meeting early January, I think that's typically how we've done it
Yes,
in
yeah.
the past, and that's worked well.
Okay,
I
I would
meet
agree.
with all of the departments ahead of time,
Right.
so your first draft is usually pretty solid with a couple of tweaks. So it's up to you.
So yes, I would agree with that as well, because that'll also give you an opportunity to have the planning commission already have met with the arena rec department and the library on the 15th. So that,
But haven't we had,
If you're talking planning commission's meeting in December, that's December 15th. So we could stick with our Thursday 17th and have our first meeting then.
Bless you.
haven't we done some separate budget meetings in the past?
They're always separate. That's just
Yeah.
budgeting.
Oh, okay.
No select board meeting that night because we have budget meetings on top of everything else that time
Right.
of year.
All right, I understand now.
so the 17th and January,
January is, there is wide open right now. Do we want to pencil in December 17th and then reevaluate from there?
yeah, I would go for that. Bruce,
Sure,
Richard,
whatever we need.
Fern,
I'm looking right now. Get back in about 2 seconds.
Kyle.
Okay, so budget meeting number 1, December 17th.
Yeah.
Time?
6?
6:30.
6:30, okay.
Great. The last thing I just wanted to mention is that I did meet with the two state geologists and the representative from emergency management today on the Macy Road to look at the home buyout site. And it looks like they will be quite likely to get funded. I have some more information to add when you get around to your Macy Road discussion. But right now, I'd like to just try to get on that phone and call Steve Young, because he's trying to get into Zoom and he's not able. So, and he wasn't able to make it through the phone?
No, I guess not.
Okay,
I just
so
told him I'd let him know
if you
when
have
he
his
gets
number,
there.
I'll call him when you're, so he can participate in the Misha Road discussion.
All right, so you're all set with your items, Heidi?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So you want to go on to the Macy Road discussion first?
No,
Okay.
it's whatever order you wanna go. I'm just gonna, walk in front of you and grab the phone and try to
Okay.
call Steve.
So let's do fire department elections first. So we'll stay in the order here that we have.
I did put a copy of the amended minutes on the table. The ones I had in your packet were modified afterwards, so I printed out a copy of the new ones. Just a minor change.
As far as the election of officers, none of the officers changed, they're still all the same.
Okay, so first item would be to approve the elected officers. So could you review who those were for us?
Gary and Matt.
So Gary Greeno and Matt DePatie. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve those appointments?
What are their titles?
Gary's assistant chief, and Matt was lieutenant, first lieutenant.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I'm
Aye. Okay, so bylaws. I hear we had an issue.
There's,
The bylaws you guys just redid?
yeah, because of COVID and everything that happened, of course, we didn't plan on this happening, so there was a lot of discussion where people were using the COVID situation to supersede a lot of what the bylaw was reading. The other thing that we need to look at as well is defining a lot more clarity on what good standing would be in the fire department again. We had some problems with
Hello.
people not communicating very well as far as why they're not showing up at certain times and stuff. Kind of was an issue with our side too, because we weren't documenting very well, paper copies, trying to formulate that. So, we ran into some issues on that whole realm of things.
Yeah.
Even though that it took us, what was it, about 45 minutes, Kyle, to hash out the details for nobody to run against the
I'm not
different
sure.
officers that were there, so
Not sure.
it was a lot of wasted time for nothing.
We're not
So,
there to the discussion.
Myself and Kyle was there at the meeting. I asked him to show up just so that we had a presence there.
Yes, Kyle is your fire commissioner, so.
Yeah.
By all means.
So, on that end, we decided to, take out the good standing part of the bylaws, so we just actually threw it all out for everybody just to vote this year, for this one time, and then we were gonna bring it back to the select board and hash out the rest of the details on this again. And there was a little bit of, if you read the minutes, you'll find that there was only one yes vote to do that, no other nay votes, so nobody actually had anything to really say on it. So I approved the motion to go through with the one yay vote. So that portion went through, for this year only, so that we could re-look at the good standing. We have in place now, records on keeping track of everybody. If they are missing, they have to document it, they have to sign a paper and waiver. We're doing all of that stuff now. We've been doing it for the last month or so, but this went beyond that, so.
Okay. So you need better record keeping.
Yeah.
You know you have to rehash your bylaws and be extremely specific on your good standing definition. The exception was made because of the year, which I'm fine with. I don't know if anyone else has any problems, but it sounds like the fire department knows what they need to do. Kyle will let you be the one that makes sure that they do it, so that we can approve your bylaws as amended.
Okay.
And
There's not huge changes in the bylaws that need to be
Right.
done. There's one specific definition
yes.
of in good standing. We just need to have it more thoroughly laid out. I mean, you would think in good standing, common sense would stand up and raise its hand. Not in this situation, so that's pretty much where we're at. And we just need to pretty much change that. It's not that they need to change all the bylaws.
Right.
There was a lot of confusion with the membership because there were several meetings on these bylaws.
Yes.
With the firefighters, and they'd done this themselves.
Yep.
And they did a good job. It's just
Yep.
one specific item needs to be taken care of. It's not a big deal.
All right. So we'll charge with you two with that. All right. Anything else, Joe, from you?
Did get a phone call from Danny, from E1.
Yeah.
It looks like the truck should be here the first part of December. If all goes well and everything lines up. So far, so good. So we should see, he said the first week in December.
Okay.
So,
What's the realistic goal of having it in service? Because once it gets here, you got to get it lettered and
we're gonna
striped
have to get it lettered, we gotta put the radio in it. If we get it the first week of December, I'm shooting for the first week of the January. We're gonna actually try to get all the equipment mounted on it before we put it in service. Instead of trying to just shove everything in the cabinets and then try to do it later. So that's the goal.
it's a good goal.
And I think we can manage it. Danny says he'll put it in his garage so that we can work on it, and he'd work on it with us, so, that would probably,
That would be great.
yeah.
Joe, have you talked about doing anything with E1?
We have not mentioned anything as far as E1 at this point in time. I was kind of waiting till we get the other truck in service first, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do with that afterwards. I think, let's get one back up on its wheels, and then we can, it's not gonna go anywhere, so. I know there's a lot of farmers around that are looking for that, for the chassis. I've been told to make sure that it's put out there because they would bid on a chassis. I talked to Danny about lifting the body off. We might even have departments that'll buy the body, just the body itself, so we may get a win-win situation out of this, so.
Okay.
We'll wait and see what's going on that end.
All right. Okay, so we have the Youngs on the phone, so let's go right into the Macy Road discussion. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Kyle, I'll let you start.
Well, I asked for this to be put back on the agenda again. Nothing brings it home, this whole Macy Road, like sitting down with a lady that's in her senior years, who's lived there for 57 years, who sees her entire life crumbling into a river practically, scared to death that she won't be able to sell her home, with no lifeline, if you will, on what will happen if the worst happens. What happens to them? What happens to their property? 57 years, raised a family. And I sat down with her. She'd asked me for an address for the AOT contact to send a letter to. And that's why I stopped in, and ended up being, I bet you, at least 30-minute talk with her at her table.
Mhm.
And that's why, I mean, she feels strongly that, you know, in the letter, and I'm sure we'll get a copy of it, the board really isn't doing their job. They're very well on following through with this. And in some ways, I agree. In some ways, I don't, because a lot of this is completely out of our hands.
Right.
And there's, you know, I guess I may have kicked the bee's nest because I started talking about making it a dead end. And, you know, I've got, I don't know, how do you put that packet together on the pros and cons? And there's a lot of cons for making that a dead end. There is. I mean, it's a class 2 road. All the money that would have to be given back to the state, the $50,000. So, I mean, the Youngs, I don't know what they want to say tonight, but after sitting down and talking with her, and I swore to her that I would do everything that I possibly could to help. And I guess what impressed me most about Mrs. Young with the conversation was, it wasn't just talking about her. She brought up the other 20 families on that road. And so it's not just about her. You know, you know, it's everybody on that road. And I know that one of the reasons for making that a dead end was inconvenience to other towns. And I just thought about this a lot. I drive a lot during the week, and I thought it may be an inconvenience to other towns if that was dead ended, but it's a hell of a lot more inconvenient to the people that live on the road and the taxpayer at Highgate than anybody else. And I realize it's probably not practical to shut that road down. So what I came up with is to keep this on the front burner, keep it on high. We all know that probably the only way we're really going to get any substantial amount of money is if the road falls in the river and we have a you know, just complete meltdown of that road. And I would suggest that we should contact our state reps. We should ask the towns around us who use that road as well to contact their state reps, that we contact our senators. We try to get to Phil Scott's office through the senators or directly, and try to get this road, the money for this road, to fix it now rather than wait for that catastrophic failure, because it's going to cost a heck of a lot more if it does fail than if we fixed it now. And it's not just in front of Mrs. Young's house. Her son lives just up the road. There's a section there that's completely given away. On the intersection of Morey and Macy Road, it's even worse. We've got safety issues with no guardrails. If someone goes off that road, they're done. They're done. And I never realized it. I mean, I've seen pictures until I actually walked up to the edge and looked down. There's nothing that's going to catch them. You're done. And we've got to be able to get someone in the state to help us. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. Nothing does. But, you know, I just feel so strongly that we have to do something to try to help the people on that road and our surrounding communities keep it open. And it's just my 2 cents.
Mrs. Young?
Hello?
Hi. Are you able to hear us?
Well, it's pretty hard on a phone. It would have been better on a computer, but I think the ID number was wrong. But I agree with Kyle. It's a matter of getting onto it and not letting off it, make it a top priority, one of the top priorities. And you're right, down the road is an issue. You guys had a town worker that probably could have got seriously hurt there, and it was because of the road condition that I just, things happen. And you're lucky there was something there, but he was very lucky because it could have happened a lot worse than it did. So I just think it is it's a serious priority. It just, don't put it on the back burner. That's the only thing we're upset about. It's always been on the back burner.
I don't think it's been on the back burner. It's just there's so many moving pieces to it because the state's involved and
Well, like Kyle said, you need to talk to the right people higher. We've got a couple certified letters out, so hopefully somebody's going to listen. I mean, hopefully somebody's going to get back to us. I hope by next week. Somebody's going to have an answer. Somebody's going to be able to help the town, or there's going to be an answer there somewhere. And thank you, Kyle, for taking the time to come on.
You're welcome, Steve.
does the board have any?
I did go through the package I think you made up with all the pros and cons of all the different options we got. For those that haven't kept up with this, the big thing is that, don't quote me on the monies exactly, but I think we did have money budgeted for this, and then it came back that the slides were in worse shape than they imagined, and it came back twice as much, which we don't have the money for.
Right.
It's a substantial amount of money. So we're looking for alternative and creative ways to come up with that. We're hoping right now it doesn't come to the point where there's a catastrophic failure.
Right.
But right now that might be what it takes to get the attention of DOT or the state to come in while we're working these other options. My big concern that I got out of that was and I think this is the selling point to the politicians that might be able to help us, emergency vehicles. Response time is going to be considerable if we dead end that road coming from either direction. The Route 78 alternate for flooding on the river, this is the alternate route.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would do. I don't travel that portion that much, but that would be substantial. We had to shut down 2 Class 2 roads that basically parallel each other. My big thing is coming from a maintenance background for the job that I used to do. Is preventative maintenance is always cheaper than crisis management or catastrophic type stuff. I know right now the bill to fix it to stabilize the bank is huge, but from what I saw, that's still right now the cheaper option. And if we could find a way, or if the Youngs, hopefully their certified letters get an answer back, but to come up with that money, I still think that's the better way of going. All the other alternate stuff I saw there about like relocating the road just financially doesn't seem feasible for our little town. That's my 2 cents on it.
Well, if anybody's got an extra $2 million,
Yeah.
we'd happily take it off their hands.
What if you call, this is just a suggestion, what if you call like the different towns that uses the road, if they write a letter personally themselves? What if the rescue squad write a letter personally to the state? They use the roads, correct?
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. That's what I would grab first. Have the rescue squad people write a letter to the state. I mean, I don't know if AmCare must go up through there as well. That's a start.
Yeah.
And then keep a list of where they're sending, this is just a suggestion, because I've been through flooding and it's not fun. It's not fun.
And she makes up an excellent point, because it's not just the select boards that can write these letters.
Exactly.
Right.
It's your rescue services, it's the fire departments from each town.
Exactly.
You know, we all rely on each other for mutual aid in these small towns.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that in itself would be
Yeah.
huge. And all we can get, I don't care if whoever wants to write a letter.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to flood these people with letters to show them how important this project is to get fixed before
And
we do
put-
that.
And why don't you put something in the messenger and say, we're trying to get this road fixed, can you write a letter to the state? It's not gonna hurt, you have nothing to lose.
Right.
Nothing, but it's a start, correct?
Good job for you, Sal. Letter to the editor.
Oh, I'm no writing for the editor.
There you go.
But I don't use the road, that's the
I
problem.
don't even need a
I-
motion on that one.
Can I just
Yeah,
add
but
something?
maybe they don't know.
So letters are always a great idea. I'm a big fan of that, but I just want to make clear to everyone that the state is supporting us. The state has backed us. We don't need to come up with $2 million. They have given us the first portion. We already have applied for the second portion. We should know. They anticipated by the 9th of November that we would know if we've got those funds. So the balance that would fall to Highgate is $345,792 is what we would have to come up with out of our budget. We've already budgeted $183,700, which was our match for the first portion. This is all in that packet for you, it's all written out. So, I do not want the state to be portrayed as turning a deaf ear to the town of Highgate. They have been front and center. They have been managing this project, giving us engineers. We have been fully supported, and I'm hopeful that we will get that money because if the state has invested in us and given us money for the design, to not support us at this point would be not a wise investment. So I'm hopeful that money is coming. So I'm not really sure that we need to start calling senators and such. Maybe if we don't get this grant, then we start calling people.
My point is this, and I do appreciate what the state's done, and that's fine. But there's a lot more of this road that's even worse shaped than in front of Mrs. Young's.
Exactly.
And we can't wait for another 10 years to go through the process to get that money to fix those other spots. That's where I'm coming across. I completely agree with you. The state is helping us, and they have done a lot, and you know, and we appreciate that very much. And I'm not trying to say we don't, but the whole road, that whole section from Moray to past Mrs. Young's needs to be repaired, not just that one spot. And we can't wait for another 10 years to fix the rest of it.
Agreed, and that was one of the good things that came out of the meeting today. So I met with Stephanie Smith from Department of Public Safety, and they're the ones that administer the FEMA grants. So the money that we are getting for the transfer station and the money for the home buyouts coming from FEMA. So I walked her down the road and showed her and let them know, as well as the geologist, that it's a very hard decision for you because you know you're investing here, but there's so much more to fix. And she suggested that we look at the BRIC program, which is building resilient infrastructure in communities. And that would give us money to do a scoping study on that whole area to look at, is it possible to relocate the road? Is there a more comprehensive fix we could do? And then what comes out of that would put us in a position to be able to make some proactive moves instead of reactive moves. So I agree with you 100%. And I think that would be a great next step for us, is to look at the whole picture.
But it seems like we're doing a lot of studying and we're getting nothing done.
That's what happens with federal money.
You know, and I think as a town, we gotta get together and do something, Heidi. You know, Kyle made a great step. You know, I'd like to give him a hug and say, you did a great job, Kyle. He went to the Youngs. I appreciate he did that. You know, and now we gotta do something. Do we fix the road? Is it gonna be cheaper to move the road? Is it to talk to these people? Is it gonna be cheaper in the long run to buy some of this land and put a new road in? It just seems like putting these nails or whatever they wanna put in, it seems like it's an experiment. you know, and it's just an experiment that we don't know, we'll spend all that money and it could fail. Let's try to do something we know isn't gonna fail.
How do we get there?
I don't know, that's where it's gonna take, we gotta start talking about
Well,
that stuff.
well, the whole point of this is, it was like Irene and the floods. When the floods happened, all the BS was gone. All the permits, all that stuff, they just went and they rebuilt roads, they put up bridges, and they did it fast and in a hurry, right? If that road fails, they're gonna come in and they're fast and in a hurry gonna fix the road. So why do we need to spend another $100,000 in studies that we can get paid for by the taxpayers, all, you know, to find out, yeah, we need to fix the hill, we need to fix it. Because from what I've seen, moving the road is really not an option. Because of the cost, class 2 road, the cost of it per foot, and something that Bruce had brought up once, we still got a bank that's fallen in the river. So to move the road is not really an option. To make it a dead end, that's not really an option. Our option is to fix the bank. So this is where I don't understand the logic. I know it's not us, it's the system. Well, they'll blow all that money when they could be putting it in that bank and fixing the darn thing. And that's where the frustration comes from, I believe, from the Youngs, and I'm not speaking for them, but just in the time I did, that's where I got boiled up about it, because it's like, enough talk, let's do something and fix this darn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'm confused. We are fixing, I mean,
You're not,
we are.
yeah, that's, no. You're not quick enough. You guys, like Kyle's saying, you've got a major problem with the road. And it goes even past Ricky Macy's. I mean, you take a, and it's the same problem all the way through. You know where the problem is where that clay goes through. It's sand, it's all sand all the way through. And it's gonna keep working until somebody stops it from working, period. And somebody just get moving on it. I mean, like Kyle said, I don't know how much it costs to build a road, but with all the heavy equipment that you had and stuff, my idea was to put the road behind the houses and let the heavy equipment would be mostly on their own land where they farm now, which would keep you in the center of the two lanes. But I guess that's more expensive. I thought it was a flat road and you guys couldn't really give a percentage on the bank. So I guess if you're working with a 50-50 on the bank, no one's really set a number. So I'm thinking if you go to the doctor and they can't give you an answer, that's like 50-50 to me. So if you do all that money and the bank doesn't hold, you still got a road with a problem all the way through.
That's why I've asked that we had, I keep hearing astronomical prices on moving the road. We did the Franklin Road for $1 million a mile. That's a half a mile. I don't know where, maybe I'm way off. Heidi gave me some figures today that was just astronomical. I don't know, it's a sand road. We're not building in the ravines or nothing. At least a price, so we know one other option than the nails. That's all I think. And it's gonna take time, Steve, that's, you know. But just, I don't know, I keep hearing millions and millions, and I can just estimate that one fix is 2.2. We've got 6 others, so do the math, you know. Maybe I'm way off on $1 million a mile to build a road, but I don't think I'm that far off on that. I realize it's a class 2 road, but it's only half a mile to
I
start.
don't know, but I would think it'd be worth looking at. I don't know, because I think with the equipment you're gonna let run through here and stuff, and there's no real, I mean, if that engineer could stand there and say, oh yeah, this road's gonna be at least 75-25, something. I ain't really heard him say a whole lot more than I got other ways maybe. He ain't really got another way, but you get that kind of answer, so I don't really know where to go with him, but whatever. I'm not saying anything negative about it. I'm just saying he's gonna give you a whole lot of other options. But you'd be traveling on the land, you're talking land, I've looked at it, you're talking 2 owners on land. the right of ways that go up through that you're crossing, you gotta make accesses. I've drawn it out. It can't be, I don't know, I just think it's worth looking into at least before you blow it out. I don't know, maybe I'm way off kilter here, but,
Steve,
Steve,
Steve, just a quick question. Are you talking about moving it, starting at like William Road?
I would start right at the intersection,
Maureen?
right there. That's not gonna fix your hill.
But, and then where would it come back?
Yes.
You could come back out where Ronnie owns
William.
the tenant house.
Okay, so William.
That curve,
Yeah.
it would come right
Yeah.
through on that curve, and you'd still have a gentle curve. I looked at it, I drove by 3-4 times, but you're dealing with one farmer,
Yep.
our land,
Mhm.
and the right of ways are Ronnie's going to the other house.
Yeah.
And he's traveling his equipment now on at least a better surface.
He's made the comment, he can build his own road. So,
You still got the problem going up the hill. You're right, but I guess later in the day, that road could continue up because the road bends there. It would have been nice to keep it on a steady thing going. If you look at it, you could draw it out so it would went right behind Ricky. And then you'd involve that, but that's what it would all entail and all.
It'd have to be 2 sections, do it in 2 sections.
I don't know. This right here,
So can we, look at that? Can we start looking on, seeing if we can get with those landowners and, see what it would cost us?
Well, yeah, and the idea that look
Yeah.
further into what the cost of an actual
Road?
mile would be based on
Right.
stone, asphalt.
Well, could
Your
you get that
base.
from like Whitcomb or, any, Pike or whoever that does that, ECI, to get a rough idea?
2 engineers, I don't know if they're capable, I would think all capable of, a rough,
Just a rough estimate.
Yes.
Well,
You're building a road, nothing to do.
We have an engineer on retainer, so
Right.
Right.
there's no reason you couldn't do it.
Now, my understanding was if this happened, there's $50,000 that would have to be paid back to the state if they move the road.
Well, the 50,000 is towards the project that we have accepted money from the state. So if you don't continue down that road, you won't pay money.
You have to pay them back, but the monies is there, the monies are there. It's not money out of pocket, it's money that the state has given us. Or this money that's been spent on
It's money that's
studies,
It's been spent,
studies
yeah.
and all that, okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure where the board is wanting to focus their energy. There's a lot of different stuff going on right now. You have engineering for that project. That's it.
So the cost share we're being burdened with is 20%
Correct.
of the total price. What was the cost share on the bridge?
5%. It's all in that overview, because that's a main artery. We got 80% federal money, 15% state. So we only contributed 5% to the bridge.
We have no idea if the state, what the state's participation would be if we were to move the road.
No, none. You'd have to start a conversation.
Because that's what struck me was,
Delay, I'm sure it'll delay it.
Right.
But I don't understand when we spend all this money for doing studies, why isn't only one thing, there's no options on that road?
I got a question, Butch, how long did it take for the state to take over the Franklin Road, to get the money to rebuild the Franklin Road?
Well, they were supposed to do it in 1970 when Cisco was built.
Yeah, didn't do it till 96.
Right. So do the math.
2006.
That'd be too good with numbers.
50 year almost.
But no, and that's the problem. All this money comes with contingencies, and you have requirements to meet. And as much as we'd like to move in the dozers and move in the dump trucks, it's not quite that simple.
Just a question, Heidi, you might know to answer. I just went through the process of a failed septic with the state. With a failed septic, tell them it's failed, you put in your application for a permit, and they move your permit to the top because it's failed. Is there any way we, and I know the state's working with us, and we appreciate that, we can get this to the top of the pile?
If it falls in.
Because this is a dangerous situation. We all know what's gonna happen, just a matter of time. Is there any way to do that?
Well, in many ways, you are on the top of the pile by getting this funding. So you're already, and I would call it engineering. I wouldn't call it a study. We had free study done by V-Trans where they installed inclinometers and gauged the site. And then there was further information gathered on groundwater with the geologists that worked on this site. So they've created a design. They've been here 3 times and presented, and there were alternatives that were presented. This was the one that was selected. So they are continuing to pay the engineer to work on this. And it is now just at a point where they have achieved the factor of safety. It is a 1.3. They did verify that. That's why they went with the extra wall. So it's a big fix. It's a hard fix. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight. The town has received emergency funds before when the Morey Road washed out. It is a different scenario. It's not the same as fixing that slope. It's a matter of getting a road open ASAP. So
You think the money is, I mean, you're real close to that money you said tonight there.
yeah, we're supposed to hear on the 9th. I mean, this project has not stopped, but with any project, there are phases that you have to go through. For them to use this federal money, they have to come here and do public meetings at different phases. They have to go through environmental reviews. Nobody has been kicking back and relaxing. It's been a solid, steady movement.
Okay,
So,
addressing the board, not Heidi, I'm wondering if bringing pressure to bear on our newly elected representatives and senators and even governor might not be helpful. How can we pay 5% cost share on a bridge for the same road that we're now paying 20% on for what seems to be a virtually open-ended repair bill? If it were only 5%, we'd have the money to do it. Could move forward. Bang. Our problem is we're now being asked to come up with double the money that we had been asked to come up with is it 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the fix will, I think I'm convinced the fix will work if they put enough effort into it. Now there's, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 other fixes that need to be done on the same stretch of riverbank. Well, folks, the state owns the river. Okay, the river's undermining the bank. And the soil structure is such that as it gets undermined, that things start to slip. It's pretty simple geology in a lot of ways. But why is our town being expected to shoulder as much of that burden as we're being asked for, when in fact, that probably is more of a political decision than anything else. So I think we should get Brock and Parent and Hango and now Martin
Paul Martin.
in here and say, guys, we need help.
Yeah.
We can't do this.
I think a site visit's always good.
Site visit's great, sure.
I've been sitting down with Mrs. Young for half an hour. Let me tell you what, that'll bring it all full circle. And I'm not saying that
Perfect.
because they're on the phone. Have them
Perfect.
sit down with her and let her explain it. Because it got me fired up. And I agree with what you're saying, Heidi. We don't want to insult anybody. We're not trying to insult anybody. Well, that's not the idea of this. But like Bruce just said, there's got to be a way of getting some additional help to get this on, to stop all the, cut through this red tape, constant red tape, to speed the process up, because, as you just said, the States River is tearing our bank out.
Well,
I never
It's-
thought of it like that, but
it's
gotta
working
blame somebody.
working its way right through that entire esker, I believe it's called, until it's cut off that whole big corner that goes
Yeah.
all the way up to East Highgate and then back down to Highgate Center. And, in the meantime, it's pretty inconvenient for us. I don't know federally even if there's anything we can ask for as far as help with this, because it's not just the Mesa Road. Maybe that's our biggest problem, but if our dump at the transfer station site fails, we are looking at a huge liability. And as it is, we're looking at a very big liability to fix that so that failure won't happen. We're being asked to carry the ball, if you will, for a major infrastructure improvement at the airport, which could be a huge boom to Franklin County. That's our one real opportunity out of all of these things. Okay, that can bring some real prosperity to people that live in this community. These other things are basically just dead costs. That we're fixing stuff that nobody knew would ever happen, and nobody's going to benefit from other than just protect property.
Can I ask you a question?
And that's that. Please.
If you lived where I live, would you feel that way?
No, I think the Mesa Road is virtually our top priority, because it's the biggest risk.
It's not only just my home's involved, there's plenty of homeowners on this road are not gonna have a road to get to their homes.
But as a select board member, we're getting all of this stuff thrown at us, and we don't get to pick and choose.
Come out and know what the hell they're doing. We have no one else to go to but you. We're taxpayers in Highgate, so why don't you try to help us?
Ma'am,
I'm pretty certain we are.
Mrs. Young, we have absolutely tried to help you.
Really?
Yeah, we don't have any better information than anyone else does. And this is just,
Can I ask you another question then?
please.
What did the gentleman in the, today find when he went in the well?
I
Did
don't
he
know,
find out any information?
don't know.
Oh, well, Heidi should know, she was with him.
He didn't go into the wells.
He must have told her something. What the town is giving us now, they don't care about our homes where we live on this road. We're taxpayers, They don't mind collecting our taxes, but don't let us get any help when we need it. And I'm sure if each and every one of you on that board was living where we're living, you would sure want some help too. Am I not right in that? Or would you just say, well, gee, there has to be a little bit of understanding here. They're doing all they can do. Really? How many years has it been? They said when the bridge was fixed, they were going to fix the Macy Road. It was in the paper. I got the clipping. I'm not making this stuff up. And I'm not trying to be unreasonable. But somebody has got to help us. Oh, somebody. Get some help. Need that. If they don't know, find some help and know who's over. There must be smart enough to figure it out. I mean, do you have anything at all to say to that? You're just saying an airport thing is more important than these homes? I don't think these people on this road would feel that way.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry to disagree, but no, I didn't.
What did you say?
I was trying to paint the bigger picture of all of the things we're looking at on this board and really not having all that many answers. We're totally dependent on funding from state and federal sources to get these things done. And that's just like trying to move a mountain. So I really do not appreciate being told I'm not concerned, because I am extremely concerned about all of these things. But I don't have the luxury of being able to focus on just one of them at a time. That's fine.
Like I said before, if this was your home, what would you be doing?
I'd be doing the same thing you're doing right now.
Could I ask what the feedback from the gentlemen that were out front today about the bank?
They weren't there about that. We were looking at the home buyout, but we did walk down the road and we discussed the perpetual issues on
They
Mason
didn't
Road.
walk the bank?
And because it is in the bend of a river, it will continue to have issues. So that is why I was suggesting that we look at it more comprehensively.
And they had no comment at all about the condition of that bank?
Well, they were there specifically for the mobile home that's further down the road toward the bridge from you, because they can step off their back door and fall down the river.
Yeah, I know FEMA was here.
Yeah, so that's who was here. Heidi had taken them on a walk down the road to show them that this was a perpetual problem. And they had suggested to her this brick program related to FEMA that would allow us to look at the entire road.
Okay, so why did the gentleman go over the bank and stand where the last repair job was done and take photos up towards this damage? That had nothing to do with the trailer.
Did he
So
take
what was
pictures?
he doing that for?
He did. I asked him if the town should consider cutting the trees on the previous fix because they're getting big and they can be a detriment. So he did not answer me. He didn't want to. He said that we should talk with our engineer about that.
You keep cutting out, I don't know why, but we're only getting part of the conversation.
So Heidi's a little further away from you than what the board is. What she said was she had asked them to look at the bank where it had been repaired before and see if we needed to cut the trees, because as the trees get bigger, they tend to have a detrimental effect on the erosion. So the gentleman that was with her that was looking at that was also taking pictures.
For what?
Just at what was there and what the other slide looked like?
It all sounds good, doesn't it? No comments from anyone?
I think we as a board are trying to do our best by you, your son, and all the other property owners on that road. I know it seems like it takes forever to get anything done. And if we could make that different, we certainly would. I know Kyle certainly would, Richard would, Vern, Bruce, myself. If we could take that away from you as a risk right now, we would do that. Unfortunately, we can't. But having said that, we are trying to raise enough money to give you a solution to the problem so that your home is safe and sound, along with the traffic that's on that road. So don't give up on us yet. We're not finished. If, as Heidi says, we find out whether we have more money toward that fix on the 9th of November, that will be a big boost to having a safe fix for you. So if you can bear with us until the 9th, till we find out what our financial situation is and what we can do.
Who am I talking to now?
This is Sharon.
Oh, Sharon.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we can find out if we have the money available, we're going into our budget season to ask for money from the taxpayers. And if we were able to get that, then we should be able to come up with the remainder of the money through our capital improvement plan. But that's something that we'll have to try to get our figures all together, and hopefully the state will support us in giving us that money on the 9th. If that comes through, we'll be ahead of the game. And then we'll try to push the engineers and the state in order to get that bid for the contract out as quickly as possible, so that that fix could be sooner than later.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
As long as you're not talking 4 or 5 years, that was stated in the paper.
We are doing everything we can, and if we don't get money on the 9th, I can assure you that the board will be talking to all of our representatives and senators and finding out in which way they can help us.
So you think a senator would help us with this problem?
They might. They are our representatives, just like the board here is your representative for town. They're elected officials, and they should listen to us as taxpayers and members of their district, and look toward helping us in furthering what is a life-threatening situation.
Yeah, it is getting to be a safety issue here too.
Now, Heidi.
Because that road is so close to the edge of that bank.
Yes. Heidi, do you know, did the state put the inclinometers back in to watch the movement on that?
No, they have not returned to the site. No.
I know they had talked about, the engineers talked about asking if they would put that back in so we could monitor the movement.
Well, they haven't been checking those wells for quite a while now.
Okay.
But the gentleman today did, and that's what I was asking. What did he find?
Oh, no, apparently the state has pulled those out, and we had requested them to be put back in a couple of meetings ago. But that apparently has yet to happen, so we'll need to follow up with that. And Butch, do you keep a regular eye on the condition of the pavement and the guardrails and stuff there?
This, the guardrails too, in front of this is,
Okay, so Butch is here as well, and I don't know if you heard what he said, but I asked him if he was checking the road regularly and the guardrails there in front of your home. And he said, yes, they are checking to make sure that the bank is staying somewhat stable. And I know that you check the road yourself as well.
The thing of it is you still have not answered my question. What did the man find out when he went down in the well today?
He didn't go in the well.
Did not go in the well.
He went in that yellow one.
They're supposed to put the things back in, and they haven't done it. So it's been 2 months, or about 2 months, they haven't put them back in.
Yeah, I would think that's an important thing to have those wells read. Don't you think so?
Yes, our hope is to have them put in so that if movement occurs, we can know it.
So I think that's top priority.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
think that. So,
Next week or so, it should be a priority, I would think.
so you're going to see that is gonna happen again?
So we're going to request from the state.
Oh, the state is gonna do it.
Yes, the state did it before for us. And we'll request the state to do it again so that we can keep a closer eye on that property.
Okay. Well, I thank you very much for, though this wasn't very clear, but could I ask Heidi to send me the minutes of this meeting, because there were at times we couldn't hear that well.
Sure, sure.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
You are welcome. So Heidi, can you please reach out to AOT and ask if there's any way that we could have the inclinometers back there?
I know that we have already asked, and they only have a limited number for the whole state, so they have not been able to come back. We
Okay.
don't anticipate them coming back. They did say that we could pay for it ourselves. We could hire a company to come in and do it. But they do not think they're gonna have them available to come back here.
Okay.
But we have a
Can you-
significant amount of data that came from them when they were here. I forwarded that to the geologist today.
Can you find out what cost that would be to the town if we wanted to go that way? Please. And Butch, I would ask that you still continue to watch that pretty closely.
now, was that a different thing, Heidi, that we did with the water?
Yeah, there were two different things going on. So the inclinometers were on the bank. Maybe one of the water wells was as well, but there were two groundwater monitoring spots that the Public Works was taking samples all through the spring. So there were two different things going on there. And I just wanted to say that Lisa Hengo did reach out to us with Brian Savage, and she's very eager to help. She knows this is a big burden, and she's been very proactive, and I told her I'd get back to her on the 9th when we find out what happened. And I just wanted to touch on the difference between the bridge funding and this funding. The bridge project languished for, I would say, probably 20 years, like the Franklin Road. And we worked our way up in priority in the capital budget. So the state's capital budget for the whole state, on what ranks priority. We went, Richard Noel advocated for us at the TAC committee, the Transportation Advisory Committee through Northwest Regional Planning Commission. And they do a ranking every year of regional projects, and they helped us to move forward up to that spot. And once you're in that program, that's how you get that federal funding that matches the state funding. So we haven't done that in this, and we don't have time to get in that priority list and wait. So we went with a grant that would address the stormwater environmental hazard. And it's a different,
Match.
it's a different required match. I think that whatever attempts the town makes to reach out to your senators and reps, I think that they will be very responsive to you. It's been great. But I think that they're probably gonna think that the position you're in is close to what they can do for you.
Might I suggest they have a conversation with Mrs. Young for 30 minutes? They might change their mind.
I don't know what to say to that.
I'm just saying,
I'm just dealing with
you want
facts.
it brings it home. Like I said, when this whole started, we sat down with 30 minutes, and it really brings it home to, to where the position that she's in, and we got to do something, whatever it is.
Just for the record on this, going to the local reps, Sharon Fagard is still, I think, there until January 2nd. I got an email from her today. So we are going to go down that route if we don't get the monies on Monday. She's still our rep until Paul Hart gets sworn in, I guess, on the 2nd or 3rd. January, yeah.
I still would do the letters.
Yeah.
Contact the other towns, it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt one bit, and the rescue squad, the state police, sheriff, it's not gonna hurt.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's not gonna hurt. And I'm just suggesting it because I think it is a good idea. People that use this road a lot, they're the ones that should write the letters. And personally, I'm not on that road. If I did, I definitely would write a letter. But I'm not on that road. I am a Highgate resident. I could say it, I am a Highgate resident, and I do support it 100%. It's scary to go through an experience like that. My heart goes out to that. I know what that's like. I've gone through it a couple years ago, and it's a very scary experience. It's nothing you don't want to go through.
I think Mrs. Young understands a little more now that, it's men going at the speed it can, whether it's fast enough or not, it never is, but
Right.
it's the speed it goes.
Speed of government, as I've heard before.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Now, Heidi, that bridge program, is that a federal program?
Yeah, it's
So
through
that would be-
FEMA.
That would be federal money coming from that.
Correct, and we would have a 20% match. So very similar to what we're doing at the transfer station. But they would be able to answer those questions for you that I can't about where could the road be. And they could put the resources into giving you finite answers about what this would cost, what this would cost, what this would cost, and what's your best long-term
What do we need?
effort.
What do we need to do to pursue that?
You would just need to, we'd have to fill out an application and enter the program. And I can have more information for you at the next meeting. If it's something that you'd like to see.
Well, I think we should go after everything we can.
I'm just
All
thinking that.
of the ideas that have been discussed
Do we,
tonight.
if the money is here the ninth, do we fix that to get that done now? And then look at the whole thing, or?
Well, if we're able to get the bridge program going, that's an alternative idea of looking at a different fix to it. If you get the money to fix the problem that's in the bank now, we can stabilize that section of the bank. But we can always look at an alternative situation, because we know the rest of the road is going on.
Right.
So why don't we look at different studies, different avenues of where we need to go, because this is an ongoing problem. So we better start now and later to what is the best solution to solve the problem. It is
Time.
Right.
time sensitive.
For me, that would be,
I'd like to see the road project, but is that 2 years?
it's probably more like 5 years
Yeah.
realistically. So yeah, if we could get the money now and we could get something moving for spring or summer, that'd be great. And then certainly we'll pursue the brick program because we know the rest of the river's just gonna continue to erode.
It's eventually gonna take it out, so.
And I did get price on guardrails on the upper from Mooring to
Yeah.
the bottom, the hill where the guardrails end now. And that was, budget quote for 18,000.
Okay.
We have 2,000 in there.
Right, budget.
Budget now, do we do, I do some of the bad spots now with that 2,000? The section where I was headed over?
Even when we start with,
Why not? It was 18,000 to do the
Well-
whole thing, but
And maybe you and Richard can review what you need for guardrails and what you are looking at. And maybe I don't know how much $2,000 does of guardrail, but if it would protect you from going over with the plow truck if you caught the edge, it's probably a great idea.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
You're one and only, Butchie. We can't replace you, buddy.
Yeah.
We don't care about that truck.
Bruce, I'm sorry, I
No,
cut you off.
I appreciate what you were saying. I think if we got a little bit of money to do something, let's do it. Now, pick the worst spot. You got enough to do a little more than 10% of it, maybe. Not to say that we're doing something, but that would be it. We are doing something. Whatever. This is, talk about being between a rock and a hard place.
That's almost like being between a rock and a rock. That's not hard.
Exactly. Well, that's what that's kind of what the saying is. It's,
I mean, and we all know that the Youngs are frustrated. We know that. We know that Mrs. Young is scared. That is her home. We understand that. She is a taxpayer. We understand that as well. But don't give up hope on us. We're plodding along. Unfortunately, plodding is a state and federal.
we were given we were given a game plan,
I know.
and we've come up with a way to do it.
Yeah.
And now the whole game has been
Flipped.
upside down, and it's more than twice the size.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it took us as much by surprise as anybody else.
but I guess I'm being very critical to say it. It seems like the powers that be at the state are just, kind of very blasé about the whole thing. No. It's not in their backyard. I'm sorry to say.
If it was, they have a different app.
Okay. We have the surveillance policy for signature. Vern, are we all set with the video surveillance policy? You good?
We will be, the policy, yes.
Okay.
And then we can look to address any amendments, in January, I think is what we agreed to.
Yes. So, do I have a motion to sign the video policy?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda, plowing question. Butch? What do we have for a plowing question?
Another question?
Yes.
Okay, I guess that was.
That's you.
That would be.
Sorry, I'm throwing you to the wolves.
Spooner Road, the turnaround that we've, I don't know how long the town's had a turnaround, but we have no turnaround on the Spooner Road anymore.
Okay.
And Rain Girls are trying to work with us to establish a new turnaround.
Okay.
The sheets, this sheet here, I've put down my number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 spots that we could have a turnaround.
Okay.
I don't know if the.
Yeah, there's a copy in front of
The right
everyone
one.
of the image.
So it's
1, 2, 3, 4 on it.
Tidy's written back.
Huh?
Tidy's written
Oh,
back.
Patty's in the back.
Yeah.
Are they on Zoom or?
No, but I'd like to, can I get a copy of what you have? Because unfortunately, we haven't had any
Actually,
I'd take my copy, there are a bunch of notes in yours.
Oh, you know what, yeah.
You don't have that, I've got my notes on that.
They're all 4, one side. This is- that's your pillars. So there's 4 sides of that. And then down is the 5 down. Your law uses your house.
One way.
Possible, so that's way down. That's the only other, I mean, I just put that there. For now, so. I guess we'd like your input on, I spoke with Richard. Richard really said he'd rather not have it on site 1 or 2. Which puts it on the Jones Sebrick property.
Well, my concern with site number 1, that's across the road from the trailer? My reading
No,
is right?
1 is on the trailer side.
Okay, 1 is on
And
the trailer.
2 is on, kinda either side of the road.
Okay, so number 2, that's in the field across from the stone wall? We
Yes.
take down part of the stone
Yeah,
wall?
you'd have to go
Okay,
down.
that is a wet area. That floods out, there's always a little pond there whenever we get a heavy rain. It does go away by the end of the day, but it is a very wet area right in there. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want it on number 1, we've just got a lot of landscaping there.
Whatever we did, it would have to be the topsoil removed and the gravel
Yeah,
brought in to hold our
we've
heavy
done a lot
trucks.
of raking to get rid of that gravel bush. My concern is that it's prime real estate, it's road frontage. And if you did use 1 or 2, would you plow us out? And we've been very fortunate over the years, I wanna say thank you, I've always supported you guys, I think you've done a great job. I think my grandfather probably had the town come up years and years ago when he was a select board, the town needed a place to turn around, they've always dropped the plow and plowed us out. My question is it possible to come up with a smaller truck, instead of coming up with a tandem, you used to come up with a small truck, and you didn't have as much trouble plowing with the small truck as you do with the big tandem.
Trucks we had all tandems, we do have 1 smaller truck. But that won't be, we have to plan something for the tandem because that's what it's gonna be in the future. And as far as getting to plow you out, there's no way with a tandem, once you put your new garage, I don't believe we'll be able to get up. It place we'll have to back down. If we did get up in your dooryard, we would have to back down to a turnaround down below. Unless you did a lot of excavating in your backyard. But it's,
I know I think you and I spoke on the phone,
Yeah.
in regards about going, up into the hayfield a little bit and building a turnaround
Well,
there.
I kind of discouraged Butch on that. I went up with Butch. Your well's right there, you know, and I just, you know, and I've been looking at a lot of things. I've been thinking about it ever since I went up there with Butch. And, you know, 1 and 2, you know, what happens is a fire up there. We can't get some of them trucks up there. You know, I think we've got to work with you, Patty, to put some kind of turnaround in there, even for fire trucks, because there's no room. And if we get a snowy night and you have a fire, boy, I don't know, Patty. You know, I want to work with you, but
Well, I
you
do
know,
know that we haven't had time this year, but we are taking down the forfeit.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
forfeit, it's all rocks. Granted, my well is right there on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
and that is a concern of mine, have to plow come and flip that well.
yeah,
Big concern.
yeah.
My question is if we took down the forfeit, you would be able to swing a little bit better and make a turnaround over that way. Granted, I do wanna turn that into lawn eventually, but I wish we'd known you guys were up there, we didn't know, so we would've been up there, we're not up there all the time.
Right.
We really would like to work with you, but I do have an issue with giving up prime real estate, road frontage, and not being plowed. That is a concern. And I do understand what you're saying about backing up, and I understand that that's a long backup.
you know, to get through, once you build your new garage, that's gonna make it even more narrow. It may push me, I guess it will push me into the well end. But where, on my map, it has the town road ending,
Right there, just past number 1, right?
Right.
Right where you get that yellow, that's where the town ends, right after a stone wall.
The pillars.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's worked good, plowing you up before, but in the last, how many years, no one's been up there, so I haven't had, you know, now you guys are working there. I mean, I had a few instances last year where I had to back down the road a mile, because I couldn't get through. I really don't wanna do that this year, and now that you've dug your foundation for your garage, I have no ability to turn around anywhere up there. Over the fire. With a smaller, with the little truck we can, but we can't run 2 trucks up here. I can't run 1 truck to do part way and then I go get another truck to do the rest of the way. It has to be the same truck doing it all.
And there's no way that you can get up there with just that small truck. Right?
No.
No, it's from going up there last week, it's quite
If I
a,
could do the whole, right, if I could do the whole
It's quite a
thing, I would
grade.
jump in it and do it, but.
yeah.
it's-
Oh, you need your little truck?
Right, a little truck, and you know, I can get in and turn around anywhere, but with the big trucks, like I say, we need to build it for a tandem truck, cause that's what we're gonna have. You know, and that's what we have had for.
And you can't have you backing up a mile.
Right.
How far is it from the town road to the property line? So how far would it be from the end of the road to like 3 or 4?
The distance between you and me?
Yeah.
Oh, fairly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's all right.
the boundary right there. I put 1, 2, 3, and 4 right, either on their side of the boundary or on
Right.
the other side, which, you know, I don't have a problem with 3 and 4, but.
It is more swampier there. It's 3 and 4.
On number
3 and 4, it's a little
number
lower.
4.
Yeah,
Wait, yes, number 4 is swampy, number 3 is a ledge. because the horses used to be there, they would come up through the whole round shape of the ledge. I mean, maybe if you guys could come up when we're up there, we could try we could look at other options. I mean, Richard and I are open
That's
to
the best way
that.
to do it.
Yeah, we can go back up, when we make a time, are you okay with it, Butch?
Sure.
Weekends are the best. I
Yeah,
know you guys probably don't work weekends.
alright, well, it's up to you, Butch, yeah, you just say when and I'll be right beside you.
You don't do nothing, you get all kinds of time.
It's like nurses who play cards all the time.
Well, what's that, Butch?
I said slow second sometimes,
Yeah,
I need a life too.
alright, I understand now.
Winter's coming and
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
now we're putting, you gotta do it right off because,
You'd have to build it up, yeah.
or don't do the road at all.
Right.
It's a decision, they don't do the road or. Maybe I can skip church Sunday morning and go Sunday morning there.
I'm thinking you need all the church you can get.
That's probably why you didn't end up in the river last winter.
We can do it after I get out of work if you want some night, Butch.
Besides,
Some night I get out of work here, I'll come right back down. I don't have
much
nothing,
daylight now,
I'll have to hurry.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Say this weekend,
Yeah.
Sunday's the only day, do it Monday, it's supposed to be nice next week, it's, no matter what, it's gonna take us, we're gonna have a couple days, to build this. And we're pretty well booked for the next 2 weeks, projects here, but, we'll have to fit it in, so why don't we leave it at next week if anybody else wants to go to,
So can you or Richard meet during the week sometime with them?
We just need, I don't get out of work till 2:30, so I wouldn't be up on the hill till 3.
Okay,
I work from 6 to 2:30.
okay.
I can tell Richard he has to leave Henry, he's gonna be building out, so.
Just tell them we need him for just a half hour.
Maybe Monday? I mean,
Yeah.
Monday work?
yeah, Monday, we'll do it right off.
Do you wanna say 3 o'clock?
What
I
time
mean,
do you
that would
get
give
done?
Richard 3/4 of the day to work. What time do you get out, Richard?
I can't do it on Monday, I got awards after school, so I'm not gonna be back around till 5 o'clock on Monday. I won't be back in time for a meeting here, so.
Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah, I'm available Tuesday.
How about
I'll tell him.
Tuesday
I
at
don't
3?
know what it's gonna be like.
Supposed to be nice,
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday next
Will
week.
you be there by 3 or?
Yeah, I'll try to sneak out a little early.
Okay.
You want me to meet you right up there or come here?
Um,
Or want me to come here? I'll
yeah,
come here.
you'll come down.
Yeah.
Tuesday, 3.
And maybe the 4 of you can come up with something that's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, because it'll take a little longer, like I say, I don't know the dealings we'd have to do if we went to number 3 or 4.
Okay.
Or 5, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's different property, I don't know how they're, I can't speak for them, I guess it's.
Okay.
It'll
Let's,
be our next step if we can.
yeah, let's try this
Come up with
option
something,
first.
1 or 2, well, then we'll go to 3 or 4.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Not too bad.
Which you always make me happy. Have I ever given you 3
No.
bushels?
Okay, traffic ordinance.
So, could we ask Butch a couple more questions?
Oh, certainly, sorry.
You had some projects you wanted to do over at the salt shed. Could you run us down a little list and we put them on a future agenda?
Yep. get the door fixed.
Great.
You have to do, and, yeah, the rest, I got a little list somewhere, just,
Well, I remember one of them being, the backup generator, to make a new location for that.
that seems Joe's here too. We did get the price on the overhead door
Oh, do you?
for
I want that one, my railroad.
property, which was roughly 2,500.
So was that generator was gonna go into, over here in that shed too, right? So just in case the fire department had to get to it?
It would just make life a lot easier.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And I don't know, you know, the generator, what are your thoughts, Joe? The school is set up. They did a portable generator so that if the highway department ever needed it, we could tow it around, but it's so big and we've never needed it. I don't know if I mean, you guys have your own generators anyways? Do we look into setting it permanent in place where we plug it in?
That's what I think you should do.
I think you should set it permanent. Now that I saw what that one looks like, it was just put on a trailer, really.
Right, it's the same things in school, it's
Yeah.
just, it's on a trailer. We take it off the trailer, just leave it on the trailer.
Put it on a concrete pad right there and done. Stays there.
But in the short term, do you wanna still move it over there, so put the,
Well, it's gonna be easier access.
put the
until
door
we just-
on? We
Yeah,
want the door, we want a door anyway.
yeah.
And then start making some plans to mount it on a pad here.
Well, we can go ahead and look at that idea and see if that's gonna be feasible. You probably ought to check with, the Methodist Church, make sure that that's, because it's gonna be right on that property line. Cemetery. You know, every time we
In
do
your
something
parking
right on that line,
That's right.
they tend to have.
Hopefully we can.
So I think we might wanna address them
Yeah,
first
yeah.
before we decide we're gonna do.
You're right, we are infringing on that line.
Yeah. I don't think they'll have a problem, I think they just would like to know ahead of time before they find out that we're doing something and they.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking in terms
Get
of
it moved over
get it on the agenda.
here so
For-
firemen have the same access. I mean, it's in the shed now. And
Yeah.
you guys,
Yeah.
it would be hard for you.
And I still think,
It's hard for
I'm
us to
not
get out.
sure, but we could look into it, that could be on an auto start as well, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that it can be put as an auto start.
Right, just like the schools.
Yeah.
automatic.
So that would actually help out this side here, the town clerk's office one day or anything time that we go out, it would power up everything, so.
Yeah, nobody have to be here.
I think the schools have got theirs on the auto start once a month too.
Yeah,
A lot of mornings it'll be on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think once a week, that one over there kicks on, if I remember right.
So, I mean, it's an option to look at. We've talked about it for a while now. Yeah, we can bring that up on the top burner if we want. We can look into it.
So Sharon,
Yes,
where's that $2,500 coming from? Have we talked about that for that door over here?
we have not talked about that.
Think Joe-
But I know a young lady who knows all about
Joe
What?
somewhere.
that. I know a young lady who knows all about our budget.
Oh,
Forgot to bring my own budget update when I put it in your Dropbox, but I'm pretty sure we have money in our building and ground maintenance for that.
okay, so that door, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We weren't sure last meeting.
Yeah.
About, I guess we didn't really get into it in depth too much.
Now, who was that?
So-
Who was that?
Champlain.
Yeah.
So is that something that we need to make a motion on so that we can at least get that building closed up before we really get a snowstorm.
I'll make that motion that we put the door over.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 And we're talking about the better quality door.
Yes, that was,
Yeah.
Insulated door.
for an almost any building.
Yeah.
So-
Said it was be worth.
Yeah.
So I would ask though that a key to that door be provided for the town clerk's office. So that if there's an emergency, that all parties can access that without having to hunt somebody down.
Walk-in door, Sharon, Lord, I see Ty's got a whole stack of doors. I don't know if any will fit in there, but in that trailer down there, there's a bunch of
Yeah.
steel, good heavy steel doors, walk-in doors.
Perfect.
We got a bunch of different size doors too, so one of
Right.
them should be able to.
Yeah.
Okay. Just as long as we have something here that's accessible, you know, just like the salt shed key we leave left on here, so if somebody has an issue, we have access.
Well, the other thing I recall was with regards to our animal control officer having a spot to quarantine dogs, that what we've got now is adequate, barely so, but still it would function. But that we might want to consider trying to, well, the idea Butch shared with me was putting a small addition on the salt shed that could be heated and have light and actually maybe have some windows for daylight that would be secure. And the only problem with what we've got right now is that it's in the garage space for the bucket loader. So when they go in to get the bucket loader out, it makes pretty good racket, which could be, undesirable for. Anyway, to come up, I think maybe the thing would be to come up with some kind of a idea for a bit better space for having a quarantine space. Future
Yeah, something, for next year's budget.
type of consideration.
Now, when they're quarantined, are they kenneled up or?
Yeah. They're kenneled and there's pretty respectable group of people that take turns getting them out during the day so that their bodily needs are taken care of adequately. But our new animal control officer was basically quite happy with anything that we had available. So Butch was sharing some ideas with me, and I agree with him that I think we could think about doing something a little better. Just to get it on the record.
Yeah, we may have to do it a complete different game changer now.
Oh,
Okay, so we'll leave that topic.
okay.
What?
Okay, traffic ordinance. So Heidi has added the stop sign to our traffic ordinance amendment and would like to move forward on that again. So,
That's for,
yes.
I will say that I had a resident ask if that possibly could be a yield instead of a stop.
They're not stopping, so I guess that's
That's
not a
why-
problem.
That's why
That's why we went with the stop, right?
that's why we went with the stop, I believe, and they're still not stopping.
No, you got about a 25% stop rate.
I do.
Watched outside the library one day. And,
I do pretty good. There was one day that I forgot about it.
Just think how long it took most of us to
Yeah.
slow down at 35 at the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shelley, you know,
hard habits.
when that switched. So
Yeah.
hopefully we get better at it.
We do have the red strip coming to put on that, so, you know, I mean, even during the day, it's more noticeable, so. It stands right out, you're gonna see that.
That was just brought up to me, and I said that I would throw it out there, and I have thrown it out there.
Yeah. The only problem with the yield is
Swing and
that
miss.
they're not going to yield either. So you might as well have it a stop, and then if they plow into somebody coming up, then at least they can go after their insurance. Yeah, it'll be it's definitely a learning curve there. Okay, so can we have a motion to add that amendment to our
So moved.
traffic ordinance? All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then Ty was so kind as to present us with an ice rental contract. That rec is providing, well, Ty, you're here. There's no sense in my speaking for you.
So that's the same contract you guys approved a couple meetings ago for our ice rentals. This is Essex is renting ice. Everything's the same except for the names and the hourly rate.
So they are interested in ice time.
Besides that, they will be there Saturday.
Wow. Okay.
And most Saturdays through season.
The rec department is good with this. They've agreed to. Okay.
So we'd be approving this as a generic contract to use with anybody they needed to?
No, that's
This
specifically
one's
for the
sp-
Essex. Because it's a contract and it's a town building, they'd need our approval in order to go forward with it.
I've read this before, so I'd move to approve it.
That one's,
That's what-
there'll be one from you coming to you too, just for signature.
Okay. So I wasn't able to catch the governor's speech, so hockey's able to go forward.
High school
The first of the
is
year?
able to start practices November 30th, games January 11th, I think is what it is. 0 spectators for them. And some other rules that are different than a normal season, but yeah, they're, so far they're to start practicing.
And so lifeguard just in time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so Bruce has made the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Is it Essex Youth Hockey?
You're on the skate rack.
You have two places to sign, Ty, but Essex only signed on the last page. Do Do you want me to sign on both pages?
Oh, that's a duplicate, isn't it?
No.
Oh. I can get them to sign that and sign it.
All right. Okay. So Ty, that is for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, I have to take you back to the traffic ordinance. There were several questions in there, to be answered. And I thought, maybe breaking that out would make it a little easier. And I'm suggesting that you just look at the legal trail questions. So, the traffic ordinance has a list of your roads by name and by number. And when you look, at the end, there are legal trails that, 3 of which don't have names for whatever reason. So there are 3 images in there. Butch has suggested some basic names just because the conversation started. So the select board can choose those names or pick other names that you find more suitable. And there is a map in the back of that packet that has the locations of all of your legal trails on it. So the ones that are in question are number 2, which is off from Frontage Road. I believe it was the old highway before they installed I-89. Has no name other than they've been calling it 26, Highway 26, which is confusing because it's not a highway and we have a 26. The other one is number 6. That's at Gore Road, just a little bit north of the south end of Tart Road. And one off from Maury Road at Brousseau Road.
Okay. Any discussion about the suggested names, Reed, Matt, and Sartwell?
Be with me.
It's good with me.
What are they, Reed?
Reed for Highway 26. Matt as in Matt Road, Matt Street, Matt Avenue.
Matt Rainville's,
Oh, that one there?
Well, they're trails, so you wouldn't wanna call them streets.
Well,
Right.
that's really not a trail, is it? That's the information I got on it, it was, all the way down to the ditch, it was a class 4 road, right?
trail,
It's a trail.
lower than class 4.
Okay.
At this,
Well, I'm going back to what Dick Cassidy told me there when he tried to sell me that land up on the hill there.
Yeah.
He said the town would have to take that over down to that ditch if I bought it. Right across the road from Paul Rush, right down there to
Just to
the
the-
culvert, yeah. So that's why I don't know, maybe I'm wrong or maybe he's wrong.
I don't know what it
If
And
you
there was a
check the
name.
map,
What's that?
when you look at the
Yeah.
map, the one that's circled, 6,
I'm trying.
it's indicated as a trail. So if you wanted it to be a class 4, you could do that. You could go through a reclassification process. But the way that it's identified on your town map now and listed in your mileage is as a legal trail.
Okay,
Oh. So I didn't get up for Ty.
okay. I'll go with it.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll call it Reed Trail for Highway 26. Matt Trail at 6 Gore Road at the south end of Tart. And Sartwell Trail, 11 Maury at Brousseau Road. That agreeable? Have a motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 There are more questions in the packet that were in yellow. We don't have to do them tonight. We can put them off until the next meeting if you prefer.
Yep,
Okay.
let's put them off.
I got something though.
Okay, yeah.
I got a phone call the other night, from Dwayne Trombley. And, Butch has been up, fire department has been up. Or before, I think, he said the fire department has been up, and I knew, I went up there with somebody.
I'll
And,
let you finish.
what's that?
I'll let you finish.
Then he told me the other night that, you had Marshall Plouffe go up.
Yeah,
Well,
you asked me,
school
but,
bus.
yeah, Marshall Plouffe.
And because he said them were some of the things that, that the town required, that he have those people go up and make sure that they could turn around. And I guess he's done work up there.
Well, are we back on Thack Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
That's the only part of this that I'm having a part of, because I was asked if I could, because Marshall Plouffe's a good friend of mine, if he could bring the school bus up. They kind of made that roundabout like a P, the letter P. You can't access it from the right side and come out. If you go straight and go around, no problem. So it's almost backward. It is backward.
Almost. You have to plow them all backwards because snow moves to the.
Yeah,
the
plow them all
right.
backward anyway.
Right.
So anyways, Marshall said that yes, the bus will get around it, one way. Yeah, it will go around it, and he did it.
Because I couldn't speak for him, because
Yeah.
he's longer wheelbase than we are, so.
And
I
it's-
went around all right.
Full disclosure, I live on Thack Boulevard, and that's all I got to say about it. I've not spoken to a member of the board about that, because I'm not.
Well, I know then he said, Kyle said call you, so.
I told him to call
Busted.
Richard. Yes, I did. No, I told him to call Richard because I wasn't bringing it up.
So. That, so where do we
You're a
go
road
from
commissioner,
here,
my
Sharon?
friend. You're the road commissioner, my friend.
Yeah, you're right. So where do we go from here, Sharon?
I guess we'll have to discuss it and figure out whether it meets the A76 standards and whether it is what it was proposed at the time.
Cut off on that.
Meaning what?
There's a date that, after a certain date in the fall, then we can't take you over for, I know we've been on the other developments,
Meaning seasonally?
Seasonal, right.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. That does not ring a bell with
But there
me.
is a date.
there, yes, there has been.
So for your planning purposes, like
Right.
you wouldn't take it over in December, you're saying? Okay, I'm not sure what that is.
One quick question, bridge dedication.
Yes, well, I was gonna ask if I somehow missed that somehow, or,
No, I had it on my list.
okay.
Sure you.
I thought we were gonna hold off on that. I thought
We,
that was.
initially what had happened was we wanted to do it, I think, Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
Yeah,
And then when the, because of the Rona, it all got postponed, and then we were talking about having it,
in the fall.
a smaller parade, whatever, and on Labor Day weekend, and maybe a barbecue and do it then. Of course, then that got canceled until next year. So that's where it sits.
My question is, do I wrap it up, put it away so it doesn't get damaged, or do I put it up and you dedicate it later? That's.
No, I think we ought to do it in the spring. This is gonna be all over. We're gonna have a beautiful spring. Everything's gonna happen. We do it in the spring.
I'm, what do you think?
Positivity over there.
You gotta,
Spring's eternal over in this board.
Okay,
April foul.
yeah. All right, if you would, please.
Just take care of it.
Yes, and we'll make a dedication in the spring, and hopefully Richard is correct and everything is over and life is wonderful.
I got another thing.
Yes.
Residents gonna be-
Shelley,
Richard,
have, you haven't got back on that, was it a mower that's over in the town shed? About, we sold it and,
the date, that it's in the paper is early November. After that, if I don't hear anything from our ad in the paper, then
Okay.
yes.
okay, so you've got it in the paper
It's,
and,
yep, it's been advertised in the paper as a legal ad. They need to come forward. And then I think the date is November 9th, but I'll double check.
cause
And then Butch is welcome to put it back out. for sale.
he came to me and said we had somebody interested in it.
Yeah. Richard,
Yeah.
you have my letter yet?
Oh, I've been coming in to see you, but I haven't been able to make an appointment.
Hope
Those
just,
are
hope just,
fighting words.
hope springs
Richard?
eternal just popped a leak.
Yeah. Richard.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I gotta come in, I wanna talk to you about that. So,
That was the
I
only
heard you
idiot
had
that wanted a big
questions
shovel.
too. Yes, we are tracking Corona extra expenditures. I heard you were questioning the rec board on Monday about that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a folder. There's some lost revenue from ice and turf.
Yeah.
There's some expenditures that they've had above and beyond what they would have normally.
Yeah.
So. tracking.
Okay. Butch, are you all set with us?
I'm all set.
Okay. Joe, are you all set with us?
The-
Okay, Ty?
I'm good.
Okay. So,
The only thing is, one of the repairs that I wanted to talk to you about in the packet, in executive session,
Okay.
off camera, because it's a security issue. It might be helpful to have Butch involved in that discussion.
sorry, Butch.
So close. Please.
Okay,
You almost
so,
cut out.
Who got one? Who got
Sorry
one?
about it. 5 minutes.
Uh,
just 5
executive
minutes.
or,
No,
okay, go ahead.
the rec commission talked Monday night, that we are gonna do the Christmas light competition. More information to come in the next week or so.
Okay, perfect. I was thinking about putting my Christmas lights up the other day when it warmed up. That's right. Okay, thank you very much. I would entertain a motion to exit.
So
I'll make
moved.
that motion.
All
I'll
right,
second that motion.
and go into executive with Butch and Heidi. All right,
And Joe,
all those in favor say aye.
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 are you all set? Or did you need to?